Hello, historians. We've seen America win its independence and set up its new government. But the story doesn't stop there. The early 1800s were a time of massive change, growth, and also big disagreements. This chapter is all about how America expanded across the continent, saw huge changes in its society, and how conflicts began to tear the nation apart. Get ready for America's wild growth, westward expansion, and manifest destiny. After the Louisiana Purchase, America got a serious case of manifest destiny. This was a powerful belief that it was America's God-given right, even its destiny, to expand all the way across the continent, from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. This belief fueled massive territorial growth. We gained the Oregon Territory, welcomed Texas as a state, and after the Mexican-American War, we acquired vast new lands like California, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. It was an incredible expansion. Thousands of Americans packed their bags and headed west on grueling journeys like the Oregon Trail, seeking new opportunities. The California Gold Rush in 1849 brought a flood of people hoping to strike it rich. But this expansion came at a devastating cost for Native American populations. Treaties were broken, and tribes were often forcibly removed from their ancestral lands. A terrible example is the Trail of Tears, where thousands of Cherokee and other southeastern tribes were forced to march west, leading to immense suffering and death. The Age of Jackson, the common man in power. The early 1800s also brought a new era of politics, often called the Age of Jackson, after President Andrew Jackson. He was seen as a hero of the common man. During this time, voting rights expanded greatly, with many states allowing all white men, not just property owners, to vote. Jackson believed in the power of the ordinary person. Jackson's presidency wasn't without controversy. He faced the nullification crisis, where South Carolina threatened to ignore a federal tariff law, arguing states had the right to nullify federal laws they disagreed with. Jackson stood firm, defending federal power. He also famously battled the National Bank, believing it favored the wealthy elite over average Americans. His actions in this bank war reshaped American finance, industrialization, changing how we live and work. While America was expanding outwards, it was also changing inwards. The Industrial Revolution began to transform the country, especially in the North. Factories, particularly textile mills, started popping up, changing how goods were made. New inventions dramatically sped things up. Eli Whitney's cotton gin made cotton production explode in the South. Robert Fulton's steamboat revolutionized river travel. The Erie Canal and early railroads connected distant markets, making trade faster and cheaper. This industrial growth also changed how people lived and worked. Many left farms to work in factories, leading to new challenges for labor and the beginnings of workers' movements. Social reforms, improving America. Amidst all this change, many Americans felt a strong desire to improve society. This was fueled by the Second Great Awakening, a religious revival that inspired people to work for social justice. The most powerful reform was the abolitionist movement, fighting to end slavery. Brave individuals like William Lloyd Garrison published anti-slavery newspapers, and former enslaved people like Frederick Douglass became powerful speakers. The Underground Railroad helped enslaved people escape to freedom. Women also began to demand their rights. At the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, leaders like Elizabeth Cady Stanton called for equal rights, including the right to vote. This kicked off the organized women's rights movement. Other movements sought to improve education, reform prisons, and promote temperance, limiting alcohol consumption. Americans were actively trying to build a more perfect union. Growing sectionalism, North versus South. As America grew, a deep and dangerous division emerged. Sectionalism. The North and South developed very different economies and ways of life. The industrializing North relied on wage, labor, and trade, while the agricultural South became increasingly dependent on slavery for its massive cotton economy. The biggest issue dividing them was slavery. As new territories were acquired, the question of whether slavery would be allowed in them became a constant struggle. Congress tried to keep the peace with compromises, like the Missouri Compromise and the Compromise of 1850, drawing lines and trying to balance power. But these only delayed the inevitable. So, the early to mid-1800s was a time of incredible growth, but also of growing pains. America expanded its borders, changed its economy, and debated its ideals. But the underlying tensions, especially over slavery, were building to a breaking point. The stage was set for the nation's greatest crisis, a conflict that would test whether a nation founded on liberty could truly endure. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more history content. And for additional resources and to support future videos, consider joining our community on Patreon. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.